fellow viewers, beloved scanner, once again. Today we're going to talk about an important tool that helps us have effective and successful courtship, which this very tool would also help us in our marriages. If God grants us that ability to come together as man and wife, then there's a tool that we can't do away with. This is communication. Communication, it's supposed to be a two-way thing. When I'm communicating with you, I expect you to talk back. So it means that when you are communicating, you have to also make room for the other person to respond. We have different temperaments, and one of a temperament that would love to communicate is the sanguine. The sanguine can talk length without waiting for a response from, let's say, a melancholic friend or partner. So in this case, if you are sanguine and you are communicating, you have to make time to also allow your partner to also air his or her views. If not, it will always be a one-way thing and later come back to affect you. These days, social media has made it so easy for us to communicate through various means. Amongst these is text messages and also WhatsApp messages. Some are now using WhatsApp to do other things that will not help people who are courting. What do I mean by this? People have gone to the extent of taking photographs of their private parts or touching their parts and sending to their partners to be, which later they use as a bait to take or extort money from them. Don't do that. You are not married yet, and it's a disgrace if a married partner can send this out. But when the person is not committed to you in any means, the person can use this against you. Young people out there, elderly people there, it's become something that we have been battling with of late. Do not take photographs of yourself and send to your partner because you love the partner, because you miss your husband or your spouse to be. Please, let us use the means of communication effectively. We can video chat, we can send each other text messages, and it will be so hurting if I send you messages and over days you don't even respond or acknowledge receipt of the message. It's not a good way to communicate. If you are yet to get married and your partner treats you that way, sit down and talk about it. It's very, very important to communicate, to discuss issues, to talk about everything. You should be transparent. Bible said Adam knew Eve, and both of them, they were not ashamed. They were naked. Naked in what sense? They knew everything about each other, yet they were not ashamed. He should be your confidant. You should be able to discuss anything at all with your husband to be or wife to be. Then it means that communication is very, very vital in growing a relationship. If there's no communication, then the relationship is about to collapse. So please, let's watch out. If we want our partners to be sure that we would go all the way to marry them, let us try. Even if we don't have that skill to communicate, let's use any means, through pictures, through the word, through anything. Let's do our best to at least call and say hello, to even inquire about them. Some people go like, I have you in mind, I have you at heart. But what do you have to show? You have to call me, you have to communicate. You can't just sit down quietly and say that you know in my heart that I love you. We cannot read our minds, we cannot read the hearts of people. But the Bible says that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. So if you love me, then speak and let me hear. If you love me, communicate with me. If you love me, follow up on me. If you love me, have interest in the things I do have interest in. Don't just sit and fold your arms and say that I love you, I'm faithful to you, you are the only person I know, you are the only person I love, you are the only sugar in my tea. Whilst you don't even communicate with this sugar you so plain. Please, let's communicate. Let's learn about communication before we tie the knot. It's a very, very vital instrument, vital ingredient in marriage. You have to learn to communicate. It is a no-no. If you are courting someone and you don't call, or the person calls, you don't pick up, it's a sign that you are not interested any longer. It's a sign that you don't want the person. So please, Don't sit back and say that I love you. Can't you see? I love you. The things I give to you. You can even communicate through gifts. You can communicate through visits. You can communicate through writing. These days, emails have become so simplified. We can send emails, we can text, we can tweet, we can do anything now with social media. So please, let us use the tool of communication effectively. If you have issues with your communication gadget, let your partner know. It's so courteous that you always inform him or her about your movements, unless you want to surprise the person. Even that, you need to do it in a way that will not end up destroying the relationship, the beautiful relationship you have. Communication is a tool. It's like salt in food. If you don't communicate, the food is tasteless. If you don't communicate, the relationship is tasteless. And do your best that at least, if you are not married, twice or once in a day, you hear from each other. If the person is outside the country, do your best to spend money to communicate with your partner. We shouldn't sit and say that communication should be done by the other because I don't have credit. We have credit to talk to other people. How much more the people we love? You can't sit and keep quiet and say that I can't call. You have to call all the time. Communication is a two-way affair, and learn to communicate. You can't say that my temperament doesn't allow me to communicate. It is wrong. It doesn't make your partner feel loved. So, beloveds, let us learn to communicate. This is a very, very important subject, and I wouldn't want to treat it in a trivial manner. Communication is key to a relationship that grows. Communication is key to a relationship that makes the other partner also happy and assured of your love and your contribution towards the relationship. Beloved, let us learn to communicate. Some temperaments find it so difficult to relate, but it's an act you have to learn by the day. It cannot be just an automatic something. It is true. People have different love languages, but I would admonish everyone that wants to have a serious relationship to have or cultivate the act of communication. Without this, your relationship cannot go far. Without this, you'll be blaming that on the devil, but you have to work on your communication tools. So please, every listener, know that communication is key. It's important to a very good relationship, because who do you want to talk to? Who else do you want to share your fears with? Who else do you want to tell your problems to? The one who loves you, the one who cares about you. Beloveds, let us learn to communicate. If not, we would ruin very, very important relationships. It might not even be only your spouse to be, but even your boss. If you learn to communicate, you have less problems. If you learn to communicate, you will be loved by many. Because the Bible says that he who wants friends should show himself friendly. How do you show yourself friendly? Communication. Communication is very, very important. It is key. So let us learn to communicate. We communicate during courtship and we communicate during marriage. And we make it sound as if I can't live without you. I can't live without hearing your voice. Even if you live in the same vicinity, that you are in the same church with your partner to be, you need to communicate so that when you meet, it will look like you've been together for days, for hours. Please, communication is key. Let us learn to communicate. You would ask, the ladies always do the talking. It might not be always. It depends on the temperament. But ladies usually would love to hear. So every young lady or everyone who wants to court a woman even tries to talk if the person is not a talkative. Because ladies would always want to hear something new. They would always want to see something new. They would always want to be touched and be loved. So communication is very, very important for a successful relationship. What about the gentlemen? They also want to be communicated to. They also want to hear what is happening in your life. They also want to know where you have gotten to. So please, communication is a need for both the female and the male. We have to learn to communicate. If not, we'll be ruining a very good and promising relationship. Let us communicate. You can communicate through pictures. You can take a picture of yourself. I'm not talking about nudity. We have to take pictures of us properly dressed, going to do anything. You can even communicate whilst you are eating. You can take photos and send. It makes the other partner happy. They would even know what you like best. It's nice to send videos of yourself cooking. Some of the guys want to know if the lady can cook. These days, you can video yourself whilst cooking, so the gentleman will know that you can cook. There's no need going to the house of the gentleman to go and make fufu and abenkwai and afterwards decide to spend the night. You'll be ruining a very good relationship. Learn how to do things and communicate to your partner to be, and it will make the relationship very, very exciting. You can take pictures of your house, how neat it is, and other stuff. But please, let's avoid things that will lead to fornication. It will not help. It will not help at all. Communication, I would continue to say, it's one ingredient that makes relationships work. We are fortunate these days. Communication has been made so simple, and we can all find that at our doorstep. Even during our time when we were courting, there were no phones as it is today, but we're able to communicate effectively, and our relationships work. So if you want to have a fruitful relationship, dearly beloved, learn to communicate. Communicate it through every means possible, but avoid nudity. Avoid taking pictures of your private parts, your breasts and other places and sending to a guy who is not married to you. Avoid having sex too on WhatsApp. It's something that has come up. It's not helping the young people. You would have time to experience real love when you tie the knot. Dearly beloved, because I love you so much and I care, I'm praying with you that your relationships will work as you use these simple keys. A key of communication. Never forget that if you want your relationships to work, communicate. Communicate every day, communicate every hour, communicate every minute, communicate every second, and you have a fruitful relationship. Thanks for watching.